"You're dead when we get home." 5 words. Said calm. Said quiet. Said like checking the weather. Keisha's chest locked. Not panic. Meh. She had 3 hours left. Maybe 4 if traffic was bad. Her brain went cold and started counting. Minutes until the car ride, minutes until the front door, minutes until she'd have to explain why she embarrassed him in public. They stood in the middle of Whole Foods. Bright lights. Calm music. People choosing between kale and spinach like the world was safe. Her boyfriend Dion smiled at the woman bagging groceries. Laughed even. Like he hadn't just told Keisha how her night would end. "Hi, welcome to Heart Voice Stories. Thanks for watching. Kindly tell me what country you're watching from." Keisha's fingers went stiff around the basket handle. She knew the rules by heart now. Don't look him in the eye too long. Don't stand too tall. Don't speak unless he asks. Make yourself small. Make yourself sorry. Make yourself invisible. She'd been doing this for 2 years. Learning his moods. Reading his silence. Surviving. But something felt different today. The air changed. Got heavier. Like right before a storm breaks. Dion touched her lower back. The exact spot that still hurt from 3 nights ago. His thumb pressed down just enough to remind her what happened when she forgot her place. "We good, babe?" he said loud enough for the couple next to them to hear. His smile was perfect. His eyes were ice. "Yeah," she whispered. "We're good." A man in a business suit glanced over. Saw her face. Saw Dion's hand. Then turned back to his phone. That's what people did. They saw. They heard. Then they walked away. Keisha stopped expecting help a long time ago. People didn't want the mess. Didn't want to get involved. Told themselves it wasn't their business. But someone wasn't walking away. A man stood near the seafood counter. Maybe late 30s. Dark hair slicked back. Expensive watch. Calm face. He held nothing. Bought nothing. Just watched. Not staring. Not obvious. Just present. Keisha felt it in her bones. Someone saw. Actually saw. And she didn't know if that was hope or the beginning of something worse. Dion started walking toward the exit. She followed. She always followed. The man near the seafood counter moved too. Not close. Not threatening. Just there. Keisha's pulse hammered against her ribs. She wanted to scream. Wanted to run to him. But running made things worse. Asking for help made things worse. Making Dion look weak in public made things so much worse. So she stayed silent. Stayed obedient. And prayed that being noticed wouldn't get her killed tonight. The automatic doors slid open. Dion's hand tightened on her arm. The stranger followed them into the parking lot. She already knew which mistakes would get her killed. Keisha learned the hard way. The bruise on her ribs came from looking at another man too long at a party. The split lip came from laughing at the wrong time during his favorite show. The twisted wrist came from texting back too slow. Each scar was a lesson. Each lesson was survival. She walked 2 steps behind Dion through the parking lot. Not 1 step. Not 3. Exactly 2. Close enough to show she belonged to him. Far enough to show she knew her place. Her shoulders stayed soft. Never tense. Tense meant attitude. Attitude meant consequences. Her voice stayed quiet. Never sharp. Sharp meant disrespect. Disrespect meant hours of him explaining why she made him do what he did. She'd perfected the performance. Apologize before he asks. Agree before he finishes talking. Smile when people watch. Disappear when they don't. The math was brutal but simple. Humiliation now meant survival later. Pride got you hurt. Silence kept you breathing. Dion unlocked the car with his key fob. The beep echoed across the parking lot. Keisha's stomach dropped. Once she got in that car, the countdown started. No more witnesses. No more safety in public. Just her and him and whatever he'd been planning since she messed up at brunch. She didn't even remember what she did wrong. That's how it worked now. The rules changed daily. What made him laugh yesterday made him violent today. She reached for the passenger door handle. Keisha. She froze. That voice. Come. Accented. Not Dion's. The man from inside the store stood 10 feet away. Hands in his pockets. Face unreadable. He didn't look threatening. Didn't look heroic either. He just looked at her. Really looked. Like she was a person, not a thing Dion owned. Dion stepped between them fast. His body language shifted. Chest out. Shoulders wide. The performance he did when other men challenged his territory. We got a problem? Dion's voice carried that edge. The one that usually made men back down. The stranger didn't move. Didn't blink. No problem, he said. Just making sure the lady's okay. Keisha's fear doubled. Tripled. This always made it worse. When men intervened, Dion took it out on her later. Accused her of flirting. Of asking for attention. Of trying to embarrass him. She's fine, Dion said. His hand found Keisha's wrist. Grip tight. Right, baby? The stranger's eyes dropped to Dion's hand. Stay there. Something shifted in his expression. Something cold. I asked her, he said quietly. Not you. The parking lot went silent. Even the distant traffic seemed to hold its breath. Keisha knew what happened next. Dion would explode. Drag her to the car. Drive fast. Yell the whole way. Then the door would close behind them But Dion wasn't moving. For the first time in 2 years, Keisha saw something new in his eyes. Fear. When he went quiet, that's when she got scared. Dion's mouth stopped moving. His grip on her wrist loosened. Not because he wanted to let go. Because his brain was doing something else now. Calculating. Planning. Measuring threats. Keisha knew that silence. It was different from the comfortable quiet when he watched TV. Different from the cold silence after she apologized. This was the silence before explosion. Before correction. Before lesson teaching. Her body knew before her mind caught up. Heart rate spiked. Palms went slick. Breathing got shallow. She didn't need to understand why he was quiet. She just needed to survive what came after. The stranger stood perfectly still. He hadn't moved closer. Hadn't raised his voice. Hadn't done anything that looked like a threat. But somehow the entire parking lot felt like it belonged to him now. You should go home, the stranger said to Keisha. His voice was calm. Almost gentle. Different car. Not his. Dion's jaw tightened. The vein in his temple started pulsing. That vein always showed up right before things got bad. Listen, man, Dion started. I wasn't talking to you. 3 seconds of silence. Keisha stopped breathing. Nobody talked to Dion like that. Nobody interrupted him. Nobody made him feel small in front of witnesses. She wanted to run. Wanted to disappear. Because even if this stranger stopped Dion right now, he wouldn't be there tonight. Or tomorrow. Or next week when Dion came looking for payback. Intervention always made it worse. Always. The stranger took 1 step forward. Just one. Nothing aggressive. But Dion took 2 steps back. Keisha had never seen him back down. Not once. Not when her brother confronted him. Not when her cousin's boyfriend got in his face. Not ever. But he was backing down now. The stranger's eyes never left Dion. His hands stayed in his pockets. His breathing stayed even. But there was something in his stillness that screamed danger louder than any threat could. You know who I am? The stranger asked. It wasn't cocky. Wasn't a challenge. It was a genuine question. Dion's face changed. Color drained from his cheeks. His eyes darted around the parking lot like he was suddenly aware of exits. Witnesses. Cameras. I didn't know, Dion started. Now you do. The stranger tilted his head slightly. Studying Dion like a scientist studies an insect. Keisha felt the power shift. It wasn't loud. Wasn't violent. It was subtle and absolute. The room wasn't under Dion's control anymore. A car door slammed somewhere across the parking lot. A shopping cart rattled past. Normal sounds in an abnormal moment. The stranger pulled one hand from his pocket. Extended it toward Keisha. Palm up. Non-threatening. You're safe, he said. But only if you come with me now. Keisha looked at his hand. Then at Dion's face. Then back at the hand. She had 3 seconds to make a choice that would change everything. Excuse me. 2 words. Delivered like a period at the end of a sentence. Final. Unmovable. Keisha's hand moved toward the stranger's before her brain gave permission. Survival instinct overriding 2 years of programming. Her fingers were an inch from his when Dion grabbed her shoulder. Art. Baby, wait, Dion's voice cracked. He was trying to sound calm, trying to sound reasonable. But fear leaked through every word. Let's just talk about this. At home. Private. Like we always do. The stranger's hand didn't move. Didn't drop. Just stayed there. Patient. Waiting. Keisha's fear multiplied. This was the moment. The moment where intervention turned into ammunition. Where someone trying to help became proof she'd betrayed him. Where rescue became reason for punishment. She'd seen this before. Her cousin's boyfriend had pulled her aside at a family cookout. Asked if she was okay. Dion smiled through the whole conversation. Then broke her phone on the drive home for making him look crazy in front of people. Sir, I appreciate you. Dion shifted his tone. Respectful now. Diplomatic. But this is between me and my girl. We're good. Just a little disagreement. You know how it is. The stranger's eyes stayed on Keisha. Do you want to go with him? He asked her directly. Not, are you okay? Not, is everything fine? Those questions had easy lies attached. He asked the one question that demanded truth. Keisha's throat closed. Words died before they reached her mouth. Because saying no out loud meant crossing a line she couldn't uncross. Meant war. Meant Dion would spend every day after this making her regret it. But saying yes meant getting in that car. Meant going home. Meant 3 hours of yelling followed by however many hours of teaching her a lesson about embarrassing him in public. The stranger saw her hesitation. Saw the calculation happening behind her eyes. You don't have to answer, he said quietly. Then he shifted his attention to Dion. But I'm going to need yours. Dion's confidence cracked further. Need my what? Your name. Something in the parking lot changed. The temperature. The air pressure. The way sound traveled. Dion's hand dropped from Keisha's shoulder. Why? Dion asked. His voice small now. Childlike. The stranger tilted his head. Studied Dion like he was deciding something important. Something permanent. Because, the stranger said slowly, I want to know who I'm talking to. That a problem? Dion swallowed hard. His eyes darted around the parking lot again. Looking for witnesses. Looking for exits. Looking for any way out of this moment. The stranger waited. 3 seconds passed. 5. 10. Then Dion spoke. And the 2 words that came out of his mouth made Keisha's blood stop moving. Dion Wright. The stranger smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't cruel. It was acknowledgement. Like he'd just confirmed something he already knew. Dion Wright, the stranger repeated. Testing the name. Memorizing it. Then he said something that made the parking lot disappear. Miho Kong. Miho Kong. The name hung in the air like smoke. Heavy. Visible. Choking. Nothing physical happened. No one moved. No one touched anyone. But everything shifted. Dion's face went gray. Not pale. Gray. Like blood stopped reaching his skin. His hand that was reaching for Keisha dropped to his side. His shoulders that were puffed out seconds ago curved inward. His jaw that was set tight went slack. Keisha didn't understand what was happening. Didn't know that name. Didn't know why 2 words could turn a man who broke her ribs into someone who looked like he wanted to disappear. But she felt the change. Felt it in her bones. The power didn't shift. It teleported. Instant. Complete. Irreversible. Miho didn't move closer. Didn't raise his voice. Didn't make threats. He just stood there with his hands in his pockets and let his name do the work. You, Dion's voice cracked. He cleared his throat. Tried again. I didn't. You didn't know, Miho finished for him. Not mocking. Just stating facts. But now you do. Dion took another step back. Then another. His eyes stayed on Miho but his body was already planning escape routes. Keisha had never seen him like this. Never seen him shrink. Never seen him afraid of another man. Whatever reputation Miho Kong carried, it was heavy enough to crush Dion's entire personality in under 10 seconds. A woman walking to her car slowed down. Sensed something happening. Her eyes moved between the 3 of them. She didn't know what she was seeing but she knew it mattered. She kept walking. Faster now. That's what people did. They sensed power and got out of its way. I'm sorry, Dion said suddenly. The words spilled out desperate and quick. I'm sorry. I didn't mean, we were just, it's not what it looks like. Miho said nothing. Just watched. Let the silence press down. Dion turned to Keisha. His eyes were different now. Pleading. Scared. Baby, tell him. Tell him we're good. Tell him it's just a misunderstanding. 2 hours ago, Dion was promising to kill her when they got home. Now he needed her to save him. The irony tasted bitter in her mouth. Keisha looked at Miho. He wasn't pressuring her. Wasn't demanding anything. Just giving her space to choose. Go home, Dion, Miho said quietly. Dion opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Alone, Miho added. The parking lot went silent. Even the distant traffic seemed to pause. Dion looked at Keisha one more time. Not with love. Not even with anger. With warning. A promise that this wasn't over. That Miho wouldn't always be there. That eventually they'd be alone again. Then Dion turned and walked to his car. Got in. Started the engine. And drove away. Keisha stood in the parking lot watching taillights disappear. Free. And absolutely terrified of what came next. Safety didn't feel like relief. It felt like waiting. Keisha stood in the parking lot. Dion's car was gone. The danger was gone. She should have felt lighter. Should have felt free. Instead her chest got tighter. Because safety was temporary. Dion knew where she lived. Knew where she worked. Knew her schedule, her friends, her family. He had keys to her apartment. Knew her passwords. Had photos she didn't want anyone to see. Freedom lasted until he decided it didn't. Miho stood a few feet away. Giving her space. Not hovering. Not demanding gratitude or explanations. Just present. He'll come back, Keisha said. Her voice came out flat. Emotionless. 2 years of abuse had taught her to hide fear so well she couldn't turn it off even when she wanted to. I know, Miho said. Then what was the point? The words came out sharper than she meant. Anger bleeding through the cracks. You just made it worse. He's gonna? Her voice broke. She swallowed the rest of the sentence. Miho didn't argue. Didn't tell her she was wrong or being dramatic. He just nodded. You're right, he said simply. Men like him don't stop. They wait. The honesty hit harder than comfort would have. Because it was true. Because she'd known it the second Dion drove away. So why did you? She started. Because you needed to see him afraid, Miho interrupted gently. Needed to know he's not untouchable. Not invincible. Just a man who bullies women because he's too weak to face men. Keisha's throat tightened. She'd spent 2 years believing Dion was powerful. That his anger was justified. That his control was love. Seeing him crumble in 60 seconds broke something inside her. Something that had been holding her together through survival mode. What happens now? She asked. Miho pulled out his phone. Type something. Put it away. Now you go somewhere he can't find you, he said. Tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight. I don't have anywhere. You do now. He handed her a business card. Plain white. Just a phone number. Call this. They'll take you to a place. Safe. Quiet. No one knows about it except people like me. Keisha stared at the card. People like you? Miho's expression didn't change. People who understand that predators don't stop hunting unless they're taught to fear something bigger. A black SUV pulled into the parking lot. Smooth. Silent. Expensive. Miho gestured toward it. They'll take you. Pack one bag. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Not friends. Not family. No one. Keisha looked at the SUV. Then at Miho. Then at the card in her hand. He's going to come after me, she whispered. Miho's eyes went cold. Not cruel. Just certain. Let him try. The SUV door opened. A woman stepped out. Professional. Come. She nodded at Keisha. Keisha's hands shook as she walked toward the car. She was safe. But the war had just begun. He didn't come back angry. He came back prepared. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of Keisha looking over her shoulder. Jumping at every sound. Sleeping with lights on. waiting for Dion to kick down a door or smash a window. But he never showed up. Instead, her phone started blowing up. Messages from people she hadn't talked to in months. "Girl, is it true what Dion's saying about you? I always knew something was off about you. You really cheated on him with some random man in a parking lot?" Keisha's stomach dropped. She opened Instagram. Her hands shook so hard she almost dropped the phone. Dion had posted. Long caption. Vulnerable tone. Heartbroken boyfriend who got blindsided. He didn't mention the threats. Didn't mention the bruises. Didn't mention 2 years of terror. He told a different story. The story where she was unstable. Where she embarrassed him in public. Where some stranger convinced her to abandon him for no reason. Where he was the victim of a woman who didn't appreciate a good man. The comments were full of support. For him. "You dodged a bullet, King. Women don't know what they have until it's gone. She's gonna regret this." Her cousin called. "Keisha, what's going on? Dion's saying you just left him in a parking lot with some random man. That's not like you." Her best friend texted. "I'm worried about you. Dion showed me the text. Why didn't you tell me you were struggling?" "What text?" She never sent him anything. Keisha's chest tightened. He was doing exactly what abusers do when they lose control. He couldn't hit her anymore. Couldn't threaten her. Couldn't trap her. So he was destroying her reputation instead. Making her look crazy. Making himself look sympathetic. Turning her support system against her before she could tell the truth. And it was working. Her mom called. "Baby, Dion came by the house. He's worried about you. Said you're with some dangerous people. Said he just wants to make sure you're okay." Keisha wanted to scream. Wanted to tell everyone what really happened. But who would believe her now? Dion had spent 3 weeks building his narrative. Playing victim. Gathering sympathy. She had nothing but her word against his story. The system was protecting him. The same system that ignored her in the grocery store. The same system that looked away in the parking lot. Now it was calling her the problem. Her phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. "You can't hide forever. People know the truth now. When you come back we'll talk. Like adults. D." Keisha's hands trembled. She looked at the business card Miho gave her. The one she hadn't called yet because she kept hoping this would just go away. But it wasn't going away. Dion wasn't going away. And no one was coming to save her this time. She had to save herself. She did the one thing he never planned for. Keisha walked into the restaurant where Dion was having brunch with friends. The same restaurant where this all started 3 weeks ago. The same place where she'd embarrassed him. He saw her coming. His face lit up. Confident. Ready. He thought she came to apologize. To beg him to take her back. To prove to everyone she was the crazy one. She didn't sit down. Didn't raise her voice. Didn't make a scene. She just stood at the edge of their table and started talking. "My name is Keisha Thompson," she said. "Come. Clear. Loud enough for nearby tables to hear. And I need to say something." Dion's smile faltered. "Baby, not here. 3 weeks ago, you told me I was dead when we got home," she continued. Her voice didn't shake. Didn't break. "You said it in a Whole Foods. In public. Come. Like you'd said it before." The restaurant started getting quiet. Forks stopped moving. Conversations paused. Dion laughed. Uncomfortable. Trying to control the narrative. "Keisha, come on. You're doing this again? We talked about your episodes." "I don't have episodes," she cut him off. "I have bruises. I had a split lip from laughing at the wrong time. I had a twisted wrist from texting back too slow. I had 2 years of walking on eggshells wondering which version of you I'd get that day." His friends shifted in their seats. One woman put down her mimosa. Dion stood up. Tried to touch her arm. "You're embarrassing yourself." Keisha stepped back. "No. I'm telling the truth. And you're scared because for the first time, people are actually listening." She pulled out her phone. Turned it toward the table. Photos. Screenshots. Texts from Dion's own number. Threats. Demands. Messages proving every word she just said. "You told everyone I cheated. That I left you for a stranger. That I'm unstable," she said. "But you never mentioned why that stranger stepped in. Why he had to ask if I wanted to go home with you. Why I was terrified to answer. The woman who put down her mimosa stood up, walked away from the table. One of Dion's boys looked at him different now. Not with loyalty. With doubt. Dion's face went red. You're making me look like what you are, Keisha finished. The entire restaurant was watching now. No one was eating. No one was talking. Just watching. Dion realized too late what was happening. She wasn't asking for help. Wasn't begging for mercy. She was taking his weapon, reputation, and turning it back on him. In front of everyone. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. The room had turned on him. And Keisha walked out with her head up for the first time in 2 years. No one touched him. And he lost everything. The video went viral in 4 hours. Someone at the restaurant recorded Keisha's speech. Posted it. Tagged it. Shared it. By evening, Dion's Instagram was flooded. Not with support this time. With questions. Accusations. Screenshots of his old posts compared against Keisha's words. People started coming forward. An ex-girlfriend from college. A woman he dated for 6 months. A coworker who quit after he cornered her in the break room. The pattern was undeniable. Dion's job called. Asked him not to come in Monday. Pending investigation. HR needed to review some complaints. Old complaints that suddenly mattered now that the story was public. His boys stopped answering texts. His family started asking questions he couldn't spin. His social media went from 12,000 followers to 3,000 in 2 days. No one hit him. No one threatened him. No one had to. The truth did the work. Keisha watched it happen from the safe house. Her phone buzzed constantly. Messages from people apologizing. People who believed Dion's story now asking how they could help. Strangers thanking her for being brave. But she didn't feel brave. She felt exhausted. 2 years of fear didn't disappear because she told the truth. 2 years of trauma didn't heal because people finally believed her. She still flinched when doors slammed. Still checked locks 3 times before bed. Still had nightmares where Dion found her and finished what he started. But something had changed. She wasn't small anymore. Wasn't invisible. Wasn't voiceless. A knock on the door made her jump. Her body tensed. Ready to run. Ready to fight. It's me, Miho's voice came through. Come. Expected. She opened the door. He stood there with 2 coffees. Handed her one. You didn't need me, he said simply. Keisha shook her head. If you hadn't stopped him in that parking lot. I gave you time, Miho interrupted. But you did the rest. You exposed him. You took back your power. That was all you. Keisha's throat tightened. She wanted to argue. Wanted to give him credit. But he was right. She'd walked into that restaurant alone. Spoke her truth alone. Stood her ground alone. Miho had given her space to survive. But she'd chosen to live. What happens now? She asked. Miho sipped his coffee. Now you heal. Real healing. Not just surviving. Actually living. And Dion? Dion's learning that reputation is easy to build and impossible to rebuild. Miho's expression stayed neutral. He'll try to start over somewhere. New city. New story. But the internet remembers. People remember. Keisha looked out the window. The sun was setting. Orange and purple painting the sky. For the first time in 2 years she watched it without fear. Without waiting for punishment. Without wondering if she'd survive the night. She understood power now. Not the power to hurt people. The power to save herself. She stopped surviving and started protecting. 6 months later, Keisha stood in another Whole Foods. Different city. Different life. Her cart was full. Her shoulders were relaxed. Her phone wasn't clutched in her hand like a weapon anymore. She was picking between strawberries and blueberries when she heard it. You're lucky I don't embarrass you right here. The voice was quiet. Controlled. Mel. Keisha's body remembered before her mind did. Her chest tightened. Her breathing changed. 2 years of programming didn't disappear just because she was safe now. But she didn't freeze. She turned toward the voice. A young woman stood 3 aisles over. Latina. Maybe 22. Her boyfriend had her wrist in his hand. Not hard enough to leave marks. just hard enough to remind her who had control. The woman's eyes were down. Her posture was small. Her silence was survival. Keisha knew that silence. Had lived in it. Had almost died in it. Other shoppers walked past. So, heard. Kept moving. Just like they did 6 months ago. Keisha put down the strawberries. Walked toward them. Come. Direct. The boyfriend saw her coming. Straightened up. Puffed his chest. Ready to defend his territory. Excuse me, Keisha said. Not aggressive. Not weak. Just present. The woman looked up. Their eyes met. Keisha saw everything in that look. The fear. The calculation. The hope fighting against experience. I'm Keisha, she said to the woman, ignoring the boyfriend completely. I dropped my phone back there. Did you see it? It was a lie. An obvious one. But it gave the woman an out. A reason to move. A second to breathe. The boyfriend's grip loosened. Confused. Off balance. No, I didn't, the woman started. Let me check with you real quick, Keisha said, gesturing away from the boyfriend. Just over here. The woman hesitated. Looked at her boyfriend. He was watching Keisha now. Trying to read the situation. Trying to decide if this was a threat. It'll just take a second, Keisha added. Then she did something deliberate. Something that made her meaning crystal clear. She looked the boyfriend dead in the eyes. Held his gaze. Didn't blink. The message was simple. I see you. I know what you are. Touch her and find out what happens. The boyfriend's jaw tightened. But he let go. The woman walked toward Keisha. Slow at first. Then faster. When they were out of earshot, the woman's voice cracked. How did you know? Keisha handed her a card. What? Simple. Just a phone number. Because someone saw me too, she said quietly. And I'm still here. The woman stared at the card. Her hand shook. You don't have to call today, Keisha continued. But when you're ready, when you're tired of being afraid, call. They'll help you disappear. They'll keep you safe. And when you're strong enough, you'll help someone else. The woman looked back at her boyfriend. He was watching. Waiting. I'm scared, she whispered. I know, Keisha said. But being scared and being trapped aren't the same thing anymore. The woman nodded. Slipped the card into her pocket. Keisha walked back to her cart. Got her strawberries. Checked out. Well, she didn't look back. Because she knew something now that she didn't know 6 months ago. The threat that almost killed her didn't own her anymore. It taught her. And now she was teaching others. Victim to voice to protect her. The cycle broke here.